want to turn our attention to the budget and the vote on the health care bill. We're joined right now by Illinois Congressman John Shimkus from the 15th Congressional District. Congressman, let's talk health care because Speaker Ryan came out this morning and held a news conference, and he talked about, he didn't say whether or not he had the votes, but he sounded confident on the plan that he's put together. Where does this thing stand in your eyes?
I think he's right on. If we had it all sewn up, I think he would have said we're going to vote on this afternoon or we're going to vote tomorrow. I think the amendments negotiated, I think we talked about it by Tom MacArthur and Mark Meadows, has helped move a lot of the far-right conservatives, the Freedom Caucus guys, into the yes vote, but we're losing a few of the Tuesday groups, which are the moderate guys. So right. I think that's where the uncertainty comes in.
So what you're referring to is the state opt-out
right.
Language that was added?
Of the essential health benefits.
Right.
Now, and I think it's important for people to understand that states have more, insurance is traditionally and historically regulated by states. Our intervention kind of changed the whole paradigm. And most states have greater essential health benefit lists than the 10 essential ones that are listed in the health care law. In fact, I think Illinois has probably got 24 essential health benefits. And so to think that a state's going to roll back an essential health benefit, it's more likely they're going to add to the list.
There seem to be some suggestions that the pre-existing conditions weren't covered as well in this bill, but the Speaker really pushed back on that, as did a couple of the other members of House leadership, saying that that it does guarantee it, and even in states where they can opt out of essential benefits, they have to prove that they have a fund of money to help people who have pre-existing conditions, and they still get to maintain their insurance.
Yeah, and this all goes to do you have a high-risk pool, or do you join into what's called the National Blind High-Risk Pool provisions and the like. So I think we're comfortable. It's a promise we've made, and I think it's a promise we'll keep.
Why do you think this has been so difficult after all of those years of passing bill after bill to repeal Obamacare? Suddenly we have the control of both houses in the White House, and we just can't seem to get it done.
Well, I think it's because if we would just vote to repeal as we've done before, you would have people saying we're not protecting the pre-existing conditions, we're not doing the 26-year-olds, we're not doing those provisions. And we had some people say, no, we have to repeal and then we can replace. So when we decided to do repeal or replace in one bill because of the reconciliation ability, I mean, this really what drives this is 51 vote margin we need in the Senate versus a 60 vote margin, which we would never attain.
Do you think there'll be a vote by the end of the week?
I don't think so right now. I don't think so.
Okay.
But I could be wrong.
All right. Now, is the end of the week a deadline of some sort, or would you expect that the effort to get the votes will continue past that?
Well, this is where I don't know the answer.
Okay.
I don't know a lot of answers, but and I've got to find out, again, if we're using reconciliation, which is a budgetary process, but if we pass this omnibus bill, I think that's where you're probably heading next, then does that preclude your ability to use reconciliation, and then it would be dead.
I see. All right. So on to the budget. The Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer are celebrating this bill, and that makes a lot of people who have R's after their name a little nervous of what must be in it. I listened to the speaker today, but before I get to what he said, how do you view it?
Well, I think it's important, one, to keep the government open. We've gone through this process of shutdown, and in fact, Illinois, really in essence, shut down now 2.5 years, and really you hurt the poorest of the poor. You hurt the most vulnerable when you shut down the basic. The people like me and some of the high-paid bureaucrats, they're going to be fine because they're going to be essential. But what about the person who's dealing with long-term care provisions and reimbursement type stuff. So that's issue one. I just don't think it's not governing. But on the bill itself, there's the $25 billion increase for our military. We know, especially with sequestration, the funding of our military is at risk. And who's going to tell me the world's a safer place today than it was even yesterday? Part of this debate was the border wall debate. I guess the president pulled back from that, but he got, I think, $12 billion in border security issues. So, but it's still compromise, and in a spending bill, this is an example of where you need 60 votes in the Senate. So you just can't pass it based upon a 51-vote margin. And I think that President Trump's expressing some frustration about the Senate filibuster and the minority that can hold the majority hostage.
Right. Yeah, and that kind of speaks to whatever's going to happen in September, Congressman, because the president said maybe it's time for a shutdown because I think he is frustrated. But if even with the increase in the military, I think it was like $25 billion. Is that correct? Is that a correct?
$25 billion for defense.
Additional for defense, correct. But even though there didn't have to be a dollar-for-dollar match for social programs or social spending, we still didn't see any cuts, right? So basically that's a $25 billion increase with no corresponding cuts, correct?
I guess you could phrase it that way. I mean, where we were held hostage before was a dollar increase, so a $25 billion increase to defense. They would have negotiated $25 billion more in other discretionary budgetary line items. So you are correct in that analysis of where was there in essence a sum to zero based upon the additional $25 billion, and where was there a reduction? And I'd have to go through all the provisions, but I don't think there is.
Yeah. And I guess my point there is that probably doesn't bode well, as far as I'm concerned, for a much better deal in September. It almost sounds like the president didn't want to play hardball now, but he may be more willing to play hardball in September.
Well, September's different because this is these crafty omnibuses where you shove all these bills together. Now we can, once we get to this is 2017 fiscal year stuff we're dealing with. This fiscal year started in October and ends in September. Now we can start going through on the House side regular order and try to pass our appropriation bill, and that's where we get our leverage. And we'd love to get them on the floor where we're not passing one bill to fund all of government. We'd rather pass 12 different bills that fund the government as a whole individually, and that's where you got full transparency, you've got budget neutrality, you've got the great debates, and that's where we're trying to get to. It doesn't happen very often, but if we don't get 2017 finished, we can't start on 2018, and we're already behind schedule on 2018. Yeah,
and maybe that's what some of us who are feeling some frustration over this haven't really taken into account or don't appreciate the fact that this backs back into President Obama's administration, basically, this budget.
That's exactly right. And a lot of these bills were negotiated even before the presidential election. I mean, we had passed some of these bills on the House floor. I don't think the Senate passed. Well, they may have passed one or two. And so they had a framework for some, but again, this is 12 appropriation bills pretty much burst into one.
Well, Congressman John Shimkus from the 15th District, listen, I appreciate your time. If you find out there's going to be a vote this week, will you let us know?
Yeah, I will.
Okay. Well, just keep in touch with us. I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Congressman.
So there you go. He agreed with me that there was $25 billion more spent on defense, but we didn't see a $25 billion cut anywhere else. So I think there were some reductions in some areas, but that's why the Democrats are crowing. And that's why Donald Trump is saying, hey, guess what? In September, this is going to be a different picture. We're going to be coming back looking for some of this money for the wall and the like. All right, more of your phone calls, 314-969-9797, 866-455-9797. Coming up, we'll do our ticket giveaway. Got a couple tickets to Deep Purple and Alice Cooper this hour. And in the next hour, we're going to talk to the folks at the Foundation for Government Accountability about the new ride-sharing bill that has become law in the state of Missouri. It's all coming up on The Mark Cox Show.
I won't be Cox Show on FM News Talk 97.1, 98.7, AM 1490, and 97.1talk.com.
Live Nation's $20 ticket promotion now through May 9th. Get tickets to great shows at the Hollywood Casino Amphitheater for just $20 with no additional fees while supplies last. Check out the list of select shows and register to win at 971talk.com.
Just received a box of Sherry's Berries myself at the house the other day. The family